All right, guys. So next we're going to look at posture breaking, which is not just one technique, but it's a constellation of principles and techniques in relation to what opponents are most likely to do. So basically how this works, if my opponent is in my guard, if he just has his hands out like this is not that anybody would actually do this, but to demonstrate the principle, I have two mechanisms to bring him down. The first is I can pull with my arms. And if he just has his arms out, well, that might be easy. The second mechanism, which is far more efficient in terms of use of larger muscles, is the knee pull. So I'm pulling with my knees and crunching with my abdominal muscles to bring him forward. There's nothing in the rule book to say we can't apply both of those at once. So grips and the knee pull is far more efficient than either one alone. Now, if we're rolling, the person might try to stabilize themselves by putting their hands on the mat. If they do that, that's great for me because it facilitates things like the Kimura or other submissions or sweeps. So for those of you listening at home, don't put your hands on the mat if you're in somebody's guard. A far more likely strategy they might employ is to put both hands on line here, so on the same line. And this is an efficient strategy in that it's pretty strong. I can't just pull him easily here, but once we've pulled him so the shoulders are past the hands, he becomes weak. There's a sheer drop off in terms of the efficiency of this. So once we're here, it's pretty easy to pull him down. So the way to beat the strategy is we bring them up with the knee pull and then pull hard once they're past, the shoulders are past the hands. The next strategy we would want to look at defeating would be one up, one down. So the sword and shield method. In this one, if he stiff arms with both arms here, this is a lot more difficult to deal with because I can't just tip him shoulder over hand easily. So I have to address this with 2-on-1. So both my hands fighting his one hand or one arm. I create this cuff grip, not reaching inside the sleeve, but this cuff. This hand reaches under, grabs my own wrist, and I'm going to pop this up. Now, it might not always be that easy in practice, but the principle is what we're driving at. The technique is this. Once I have this, there's a couple of different things we can do off of that. I like overhook guard, so I tend to pull up and then weave this hand under to sit up and start my overhook attacks. Or you could work for a back take or sweep, so if he has that grip, I 2-on-1, pull this off, and then I'm going to switch this hand to the outside of his wrist. This goes behind his elbow, and I drive this across so I can come up for either the back take or I can roll him in terms of a sweep, like a pendulum sweep or flower sweep. Another strategy to look at here would be if he has both arms deep in the elbow and he's lower here. So for this one, I want to push against him. I have to create some dynamic tension here because I can't just let him plant me into the mat. So a little bit of effort here to kind of wiggle backwards. This hand has to quickly go under. And once I have this, feet on the hip and driving up onto my side and creating wedges here and frames so that I can achieve some sort of ability to push him back. So one more thing to look at would be if they're posturing so far back, they're not even creating frames. In this case, it's going to be pretty hard, pretty unavailable. You know, I am fighting a lot to get them to come forward. I might just allow them to keep their posture here and use that to my advantage. So from here, the hip bump sweep is the thing to focus on. So I'm going to open my guard, I'm going to come up onto my elbow, and I'm going to start to drive over. If he's really sitting back and committed to that, capturing this arm and bumping him over into mount would be an efficient strategy rather than trying to break him down. So one more time. We're here, I'm trying to break his posture, he's just stubbornly leaning back, I'm trying grips, I'm trying knee pull, it's not working. Okay, so I'm gonna open my guard, come up onto my hand, grab behind his elbow, and pop over.